It was Norman Reynolds who was designer on the picture. I knew Norman quite well because I'd worked with him on Star Wars: A New Hope. He was designer on the picture, which means he had overall command on the way the whole film looked. No, I got to know George Lucas slightly on Star Wars, but nothing to do with him on that film. The only time I saw Spielberg ever came into the workshop was on Temple of Doom, and he came into the workshop and had a quick chat and then left, but we didn't see him after that. No, I had nothing to do with the Golden Idol. It was done by a sculptor called Keith Short, who has now retired from the film industry. The exterior of the cave was done, shot on location. The interior, where you first see the ball rolling down the ramp, was done on the stage at Elstree. There were three of us working on it, and we worked on it for 3 weeks. The plasterers worked on that set as well, doing the more simple type prop, and us as sculptors did the big overhangs and the more interesting parts of the set. I did work on that cave and the heads and that. I can't remember exactly what I did because it was such a long time ago, but we were always given some sort of design to work from, even if it was just a very simple sketch. Again, you're given a sketch to work from. Well, Keith Short, who was on the picture as well, he did the angels on the top, which was one angel that was reversed round, and then I did the detailing on the box and around the top. This, and one of the panels I did. Well, I have to be honest, I can't remember doing it, although I did work on those panels. There were a couple of us doing them. But it's I've 48 years in the industry, and I've worked on so many films and done so much work that I can't remember if I did that one or not. But I think it was probably arranged by Spielberg and Lucas. It would have been a great joke to have actually done it. Well, I worked on Alien, and we did a thing there where there was a chap was saying that he'd seen parrots in a tree at the studios, and he carried on, and none of us saw these parrots. So I carved a few parrots, and the painter painted them, and we called him up from another stage and said we'd seen these parrots. So he walked onto the stage and saw these parrots painted up on the bone sections there. And he laughed and thought it was a funny side. Well, we were working on one night on the cave set, doing overtime, and we were having a tea break. So I just said what had happened, and one of the guys said, wouldn't it be good fun if we did some rabbits and put them around the set? Well, what we did is we drew a rabbit one size at one end of a block and a bigger one at the other, and if you cut at exactly the same time, you get a perfect profile going right the way through. Then we cut them all up and put them in little families around the rock set. And when Norman Reynolds come in next morning, the designer, he looked around and he obviously wasn't very pleased with it, and he never said a word to us, but we could see he wasn't pleased. So when he left the stage, we took all the the rabbits down. But yeah, that's what that was about. Yeah, I did it. It was when they shot from behind Harrison Ford's head, they had a glass sheet and it was a real cobra. But when they were shooting back the other way towards his face, they couldn't use a glass sheet. And obviously they couldn't have a real live cobra in front of the star. So I sculpted the cobra to use for that scene. And if you really look closely, it's not a long scene, but the snake doesn't really move much. So yeah, that's the one I did. Well, again, working in the film industry for 48 years, you become accustomed to your work being thrown in the skip. But at the end of the day, you know that work is on film for years and years to come. I mean, you know that you get paid for doing the work, and that's basically, if you have a family, a mortgage and kids, you have to forget that your work is going to probably be thrown away. Props and that, things like Vader and that I've done, are going to be kept forever. Well, they're fun movies to work on. It was enjoyable. It was a different style of work, all Indian work we were doing. So, yeah, it was great. I really enjoyed it. It's a bit like the Bond movies. Every Bond movie, I've worked on 10 Bond movies. So everything one you do are in a different part of the world, different styles of work you're doing. So, I mean, it was a bit like that with Indiana Jones, and it was my favourite one out of the Indiana Jones films I did, the Temple of Doom that was. So, yeah, I love working on that one. Yeah, it's satisfying because they actually panned out from the Paramount Mountains, so you see them really full screen up close and you gradually see the gong appear. So that was great, but there was a little thing that I spent 2 weeks sculpting a dragon that went right the way around the gong with the Paramount Mountains in the middle, and then they had to be scrapped because they got the scale wrong for the Paramount Mountains, and then I had 2 days to sculpt what you see on the screen. Well, I mean, if you're doing architectural work that's in the background, you can sometimes find that it's totally fuzzy, it's out of focus in the background, but without it the film wouldn't work. Otherwise they'd just be shooting on bare walls, you'd have nothing there. People in their minds accept what they're seeing, whether it be the interior of a palace, because all of the ornate architectural work. The Kali statue was mainly Derek Howarth. I did a few arms and helped out because there was a couple of days before I could get on to the next job I was doing, so I helped him out on that. But in that set, I did the elephant's head that Indiana Jones flicks his whip around to swing down to the floor. The heart that is plucked out of the sacrifice, I sculpted that, and the special effects did a double motion pump, so you get the boom, 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 boom. And I actually went to Harefield Hospital in England, which is a heart specialist, and I talked to a surgeon, and I was asking him what hearts I could get that were nearest to the human heart. And initially he said, well, the primates, which I said I couldn't get. So I ended up getting a lamb's heart, which was quite close to the human, for just the detailing. And then I had a hospital plastic model for getting the veins in the right position, and did it like that. But when I was parting from the hospital, the surgeon said to me, I'm doing open heart surgery tomorrow, would you like to come along and watch? To which I answered, no thank you, I'll make do with what I've got. Just a small amount of work. There was, in the big rock set, there was a rock bridge that went across. I sculpted just that rock bridge, and that you see that drop down at some point, I believe, in the film. But and then some architectural details, and that was it. So, and most of it I didn't actually sign on to the movie. I did it at a price with someone else. they're so diverse, the work. I mean, the things that are actually shot up close have to look right. So you can say from that point, anything that's seen on camera close has to be done, you know, the extra effort is spent on them. But there was a figure that was in the big temple. It was a Kali figure that you hardly see in the film, and it had 16 arms. And that was quite a difficult one to work out. So, although you hardly see it in the film, the actual sculpting of it was quite intricate. No, is a short answer. No, I haven't, and I wouldn't, because I don't think there would be that much of a market, and I don't know what the problems would be with copyright and all that. So no, I haven't really considered it. Difficult one. I mean, I have worked on number 7, Star Wars, and I've worked on Rogue One. But really working on the next Star Wars film, which is 8, which they've nearly finished, or Indiana Jones really doesn't come into question, because I've decided to call it a day and retire.
Bye bye.